Hi guys, this is Lee at Fresh Astrology, and it is April 12th. So we're going into the weekend of April 13th, kind of Friday the 13th. I actually know some people who got married on Friday the 13th for good luck, and it's worked. They've been married a long time. So anyway, what we have right now is a Pisces moon for the next today and the following couple of days. And so the energy right now is really interesting. It's all working together nicely. Doesn't mean that, so when I say things are working together, it doesn't mean that, a magic fairy lands on your head and makes everything better. We don't get Glinda the Good Witch from the Wizard of Oz, gracing our lives every single second of the day. However, the energy right now has got a lot of good to it. What's happening is we have Jupiter in Scorpio, right? Then we have a lot of energy in Capricorn with Saturn and Pluto there. And then in Pisces, we have the moon, and we have the very last second of Chiron. It's transitioning actually now. So Chiron is moved over, this is moving and in this transition which we're all living right the second as I speak this. We're living this transition from Chiron in Pisces to Chiron in Aries while the moon is in Pisces. And in Taurus right now we have Venus. And we have a lot of Aries energy because it's a time of year when the sun is there. But Aries, I'm not focused so much on right this second. What I'm looking at, we can just kind of put Aries aside for a minute. What I'm looking at is this transition from from Scorpio to Capricorn to Pisces to Taurus. So if you look on a calendar or you look on a zodiac wheel, you can see that this is every other sign. We jump over Sagittarius from Scorpio to Capricorn. It's like leapfrog. We hop over Sagittarius, and then once we're in Capricorn, we hop over Aquarius and get into Pisces. Once we're in Pisces, we hop over Aries and we get into Taurus. So you've got this like leapfrog, every other sign with some very interesting energy going on. And when every other sign is working together, there's this nice flow and opportunity there. And these are areas in your life where there's a lot of movement, wherever they live in your chart. Universally speaking, you're using the expansion of Scorpio. So it's an expanded strategy and plan. These are tactics. It's tactical in nature. So it's no surprise when you look around you in the news and you hear other people talking about their plans and their strategies. It goes all the way down to us as individuals and all the way up to world leaders. Scorpio also with these tactics and plans, and we're in a time of Aries. It's a time when, war can occur or people can be looking at warlike strategies. They don't call it war anymore because for tactical reasons, they don't want to call it war. But around the world, you will have world leaders going into these strategies, tactics. But and we can't control all that. Once we've elected someone in, or if you've got a dictator or, somebody just totally running your country, there's not a lot you can do about that. What you can't control is your own life. You can control what you think and how you behave. So what are you wanting to plan for yourself? Universally, Scorpio refers to not just covert plans like war strategies, but financial plans. And also plans for how to deepen your connection to others, how you can experience the quality of intimacy. And so many people, their mind jumps to sex when you say intimacy. And intimacy is, you wouldn't have like a worldwide epidemic of people feeling a lack of intimacy with all the sex going on, you know. Sex does not equate to intimacy at all. It can in Scorpio, yes. I mean, it can point towards sex, but really with Jupiter there, there's a larger message of how to deepen your connection to yourself first. That's a part of intimacy, is to really understand yourself and to be fully who you are. And then how do you expand beyond that to create a feeling of intimacy between you and other people? And it doesn't have to be romantic in nature. It can be just the feeling of connection. But so that's going on. But I see an interesting picture taking place in terms of finances and money. It's why we did the money course in Tribe, why we have the money course right now, which you can find. I'll try to remember to put a link in, but that's the reason it was on our brains. It's probably why it's on the brains of a lot of people, because there is this theme of finance and money and change in the wind. Definitely a lot of change in the wind. In Taurus, remember we leapfrogged from Scorpio to Capricorn to Pisces to Taurus. There's a story playing out. So an expanded need to work with finance, deal with money in a new way, hopefully a luckier way, with a little more divine inspiration maybe, and a little more feeling of not being isolated and disconnected. Maybe learning how to work in groups to solve problems around money. But for you individually, it's a great time if you have financial goals. And you have dreams, like that's Pisces. You've got the moon there. We have Neptune there. You know, your dreams, your creative vision for your life. So you've got the financial plans, the strategies, kind of the goals financially. You've got your dreams for your life, your creative vision for your life. And then in Taurus, you have Venus kind of allowing you some flow of money, even if it's a little bit. There's some flow of money coming in, even if it's small. And you may feel more like you can spend on stuff toward your goal. Like if your goal is to feel better about yourself, maybe you spend money on organic food, or maybe a gym membership or something. It depends on what your goals are. But if you have business goals, maybe you have a little money coming in and you can spend on, you know, I guess an investment in your business so that you can grow it. The most important key here, though, is what's happening, and there is this bit about Chiron too happening, but it's like a starter switch going on right now, because you have Mars up there in Capricorn with Saturn and Pluto, and there's never been a better time to implement a strategy to throw energy into your dreams, to create income and the ability to spend, and to create a luckier financial foundation in your life. The key is the implementation, though. So I've met personally very few people unwilling to work. There's this idea floating around, I think often it's politically motivated, but there's this idea that floats around like, oh, people just aren't willing to work. You know, people just don't want to do anything about it, or they don't really want to lift a finger. Sometimes there's this judgment about people. I've never met a person who's unwilling to work. I've met a lot of people in my coaching world and astrology world who come to me for help when they just feel stuck. That does not equate to laziness. Maybe they need an antidepressant and they're not on an antidepressant. Maybe they're traumatized and they have PTSD and they're not getting help for that. But I see people stuck, but I've never seen somebody unwilling to work. I've seen overwhelmed people who just have way too much going on. So there's an interesting mix, and I want to make sure I say it correctly for those who can hear me. So it's not about driving yourself crazy and with work and putting so much implementation, that means action steps, in place that you miss the part about the moon and Neptune and Pisces, where you dream and there's a receptivity and a message about just receiving and dreaming and going into more like a yoga space in your mind, if that makes sense. Like learning how to dream, I guess, is the simplest way to say it. I could go on a whole lecture about what that means, but just to be able to sit back and stare at the clouds and imagine animal shapes. That kind of stuff's very important too. To have time for relaxation and dreaming, to have time for the creative mind to percolate and run without feeling like you have to do, act. So while I'm saying there's never been a better time to implement some strategies and implement meaning act on your dreams, there's a balance here, especially with Venus and Taurus. Venus and Taurus, as much as it's about, the sign is about money and making money and being comfortable, which is going to be a motivating factor for you too, for a lot of you. But it's also about enjoyment of life. And that's where we end the story right now. You begin, you go with the progression of the zodiac. So you start with these plans. You've got kind of a strategy right now, a lot of you. I bet everybody does. And then you have maybe some, not just plans, but you want to take action steps, right? And there's a lot of opportunity there for people who've been stuck. This is a time to kind of wiggle out of stuckness and go into action and take even very small steps count. I'm not talking about the biggest action you could take. I'm talking about the smallest action you could take, actually. Often that's the one that takes you further, oddly, is the smallest step can take you further because it's more practical, it's more sensible, and chances are you've thought about what the smallest next step is rather than just leaping in wildly, not knowing exactly how to go about it. Take small actions one at a time, small ones. And then this idea of keeping engaged with relaxation, keeping engaged with just passive dreaming. Letting the creative mind just play, letting yourself just play and rest. Rest is a big thing for a lot of people right now because there is such opportunity to act, and people are feeling so motivated to go after their dreams that if you don't create this passive receptive time, it's out of balance. And right now there's a message of even take time to enjoy. And that could extend to whatever if your action plans include making money and what kind of work you can do, there is this message of enjoyment. So choices made right now should lean toward rest and enjoyment, while at the same time that you spend some hours of the day implementing strategies and plans. So it's a balance. I want you to hear all those pieces as equal. No one piece of it is unimportant. I would say the good news for people who have been stuck for a while is this is a great time to get unstuck. If you feel like you're lost and you need more help getting unstuck, I do personal sessions of life coaching, and my other company, Tribe, has a wonderful money financial program to help you get back on your feet and get some motivation, get your energy in a different place, along with the practical. So I feel like our financial course it's available as of Sunday, but you can get the early bird pricing right now if you want to jump in on that and get some savings. But I feel like our course is actually very balanced. When I talk about all these elements, I'm thinking, yeah, our course is a lot like that. So I encourage you. It's a great product. It's not just me doing it, it's two other people, my business partners and I.